stop. Just stop scrolling. Why are you here at 2 a.m. at this exact moment when you should be sleeping, but something deeper than exhaustion pulled you to this message? Here's what nobody wants to tell you. You've been lied to about timing. They told you, wait your turn. They said, be patient. They whispered, maybe next year, until decades disappeared like smoke. But what if? What if everything you've endured in silence, every closed door, every delayed dream, every night you cried alone, wondering if God forgot your address? What if it was never punishment? What if it was preparation? The 29th of June, 2025 is not just another date on your calendar. It is heaven's appointed moment. The day your waiting transforms into walking, the final step before everything shifts. You're not here to be inspired, beloved. You're here to be activated. I see you, the one who's watched everyone else get promoted while you stayed faithful in the shadows. The one who's prayed the same prayer for so long you wonder if heaven has caller ID and stopped picking up. The one whose friends have stopped asking about your dreams because even they gave up hope. But your spirit is trembling right now, isn't it? Something ancient and eternal is stirring in your chest. That's not anxiety, that's recognition. Your soul knows what your mind hasn't figured out yet. This is your door, and it opens now. If your hands are shaking, if tears are already forming, if something deeper than logic is screaming, yes, inside you type 777 in the comments right now. That number isn't superstition, precious one. It's a signal flare to heaven declaring, I'm ready for my final step. Like this message, not for numbers, but because someone else's breakthrough might depend on your simple act of obedience. Someone else needs to find their door through your courage to believe again. And to every single soul who has supported this message through super thanks, your generosity means more than you know. You're not just giving, you're sowing seeds into sacred ground, helping light reach the darkest corners where God's chosen ones are waiting. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful. Your presence here, your open heart, your willingness to believe again, it all matters in ways eternity will reveal. The 29th of June isn't coming, beloved. It's here. And your shine? It begins now. Do you hear that ticking, that rhythmic pounding in your chest that isn't your heartbeat? That's the sound of divine countdown reaching zero. And before you dismiss this as spiritual theater, let me ask you something that will shake you to your core. What if everything you've endured these past 70, 80, even 90 years, every heartbreak, every loss, every moment you thought God had forgotten your name, what if it was all preparation for this moment? Listen to me carefully, beloved. There is a spiritual clock that operates outside of human time. It doesn't tick in seconds or minutes. It ticks in seasons of purpose. And right now, at this very moment, that clock has struck your hour. You've lived long enough believing your best days are behind you. You've accepted the lie that significance belongs to the young, that breakthrough is reserved for those with decades ahead of them. But what if the most sacred chapter of your entire existence begins now, at the edge of your silver hair and quiet strength? The Bible tells us in Isaiah 60:1, arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. Notice, it doesn't say when you were 20 or before your hair turned gray. It says now, your light has come. Jesus spoke about 10 virgins waiting for the bridegroom. 5 were ready when he arrived, 5 were not. And here's what terrifies me for some of you watching this. The door closed, while the unprepared ones were still scrambling for oil. Matthew 25:10 records the devastating words, and the door was shut. Heaven doesn't leave doors open forever. This one is creaking right now. Can you hear it? That groaning sound of opportunity, straining against the hinges of time. You see, there's something the enemy has whispered to your generation that I need to expose right now. He's convinced you that you've missed your moment, that your time came and went while you were busy raising children, building careers, surviving marriages, burying parents. He's told you that divine purpose has an expiration date stamped with your AARP card. That's a damnable lie from the pit of hell. Moses was 80 when God called him to lead a nation out of bondage. Abraham was 100 when he held the promise in his arms. Anna the prophetess was 84 when she recognized the Messiah in the temple. Your wrinkles aren't disqualifications, they're credentials. But here's what's keeping me awake at night, what's burning in my spirit like fire shut up in my bones. Some of you are about to miss this moment because you're waiting for permission from a world that never valued your wisdom to begin with. The 29th of June, 2025 isn't just another summer day. It's a divine appointment that's been marked on heaven's calendar since before you drew your first breath. This is the day when everything you've learned, every tear you've cried, every prayer you've whispered in the darkness begins to make sense. The clock isn't ticking to pressure you, it's ticking to focus you, to strip away every excuse, every fear, every reason you've convinced yourself that your season of significance has passed. Do you know what's happening in the spiritual realm right now while you're watching this? Angels are leaning forward, principalities of darkness are trembling, because they know something you're just beginning to understand. The most dangerous person on earth is a senior saint who finally realizes their assignment isn't over, it's just beginning. You've been refined by fire, you've been tested by time, you've been seasoned by sorrow and strengthened by struggle. The young ones have energy, but you have something they don't. Wisdom forged in the furnace of experience. And wisdom, dear one, is what changes the world. But I need to warn you about something that could derail everything. There's a moment coming, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, when doubt will knock on your door wearing the mask of reason. It will whisper, "This is foolish. You're too old. You've missed your chance." That's the moment when you must remember. Noah built an ark at 600 years old. Caleb conquered mountains at 85. Simeon waited his entire life to see salvation, and he didn't give up until he held baby Jesus in his arms. Your appointment with destiny isn't cancelled because of your age. It's been scheduled because of it. The door is open. The clock has struck. The light is breaking through the darkness of a world that desperately needs what you carry. But this door won't stay open forever. Divine windows have divine timing. So I'm asking you, I'm pleading with you, don't let this moment slip through fingers that have held grandchildren, signed mortgages, and wiped away decades of tears. Don't let this opportunity fade like so many others you've watched pass by. The 29th of June is your final step into a purpose so profound, it will make everything you've endured worth it. Every sleepless night, every financial struggle, every relationship that broke your heart, every dream that seemed to die of it was preparing you for this. The question that will determine your legacy isn't whether you're ready, it's whether you're willing. Because ready or not, your moment has arrived. And what happens next will echo through eternity. Let's talk about the nights no one clapped for you. The nights you knelt on cold bathroom floors, whispering prayers through tears, wondering if heaven had moved and forgot to give you the new address. The mornings you woke up to the same ceiling, the same problems, the same silence from a God who seemed to answer everyone else's prayers but yours. You've been there, haven't you? Watching your younger siblings get promoted while you stayed in the same position for 15 years. Seeing your church friends buy their dream homes while you're still renting at 65. Watching everyone else's children graduate, get married, have babies, while yours struggle with addiction, rebellion, or just disappearance. And you've asked the question that burns in every chosen one's heart. God, what did I do wrong? Here's what no preacher wants to tell you because it's too painful, too raw, too real. Nothing. You did absolutely nothing wrong. Those doors that slammed in your face weren't denials, they were divine redirections. Every no you received wasn't rejection, it was protection. Every delay wasn't God forgetting you, it was God preparing something so magnificent that your current capacity couldn't hold it. You see, beloved, God doesn't hide his favorites to punish them, he hides them to preserve them. Think about Joseph, 17 years old, full of dreams and vision, telling everyone about his destiny. And what happened? His own brothers threw him in a pit and sold him into slavery. 13 years of silence. 13 years of wondering if those dreams were just teenage fantasies. 13 years of serving in houses that weren't his, solving problems that weren't his calling. But here's what Joseph didn't know in that Egyptian prison. Every betrayal was building his character. Every false accusation was strengthening his integrity. Every year of waiting was expanding his capacity to rule a nation. The same God who orchestrated Joseph's preservation has been orchestrating yours. Moses spent 40 years in a wilderness, herding sheep, probably wondering if he'd thrown away his royal upbringing for nothing. 40 years of silence, no burning bushes, no divine visitations, just sand, sheep, and the echo of his own doubts. But God wasn't ignoring Moses, he was preparing him. Because the man who would deliver Israel couldn't be a hot-headed prince from Pharaoh's palace. He had to be a broken, humbled shepherd who knew the difference between human strength and divine power. Your wilderness wasn't wasted time, it was wisdom school. And what about Anna, the prophetess who spent 84 years in the temple, praying, fasting, waiting for the Messiah? 84 years. Do you know how many Christmas mornings she woke up hoping this would be the year? How many times people probably whispered, "Poor Anna, still waiting for something that's never going to happen." But Luke 2:38 tells us that when baby Jesus finally arrived, Anna was there, ready, positioned, and she became one of the first people in history to proclaim the Messiah to the world. Your waiting wasn't punishment, precious one. It was positioning. But let me ask you something that's going to cut deep. What if the very thing you've been crying about, praying about, begging God to change, what if that's the exact qualification for what he's about to give you? What if your financial struggles weren't God withholding blessing, but God teaching you how to trust him when the bank account says zero? Because the ministry he's about to release through you will require that level of faith. What if your health battles weren't God ignoring your prayers, but God building supernatural strength in your spirit? Because the people you're about to minister to will need to see someone who's walked through the valley and came out victorious. What if your family dysfunction wasn't evidence that God doesn't care, but preparation for a calling so significant that it will heal generations you'll never meet? You think you've been hidden because you're forgotten, but God hides his most precious treasures until the appointed time. David was anointed king at 16, but he didn't wear the crown until he was 30. 14 years of running, hiding, living in caves, wondering if Samuel heard God wrong that day with the oil. 14 years of people calling him crazy for believing he was chosen for something greater than watching sheep. But every giant he faced in private prepared him for the Goliath he'd face in public. Every psalm he wrote in the darkness became the soundtrack for millions who would walk through their own valleys. Your silent seasons weren't empty seasons. They were echoing with purpose you couldn't hear yet. And here's the part that's going to shake you. The reason your breakthrough has taken so long is because what God has prepared for you is so massive, so beyond anything you've imagined, that he's had to spend years expanding your capacity to receive it without it destroying you. Small dreams come quickly. Generational shifts take decades of preparation. You weren't delayed because you're disqualified. You were delayed because you're dangerous to the kingdom of darkness, and God had to make sure you were bulletproof before he released you. Every tear you cried in secret watered the ground where your ministry will bloom. Every prayer you whispered in pain built the foundation of authority you'll carry. Every night you stayed faithful when no one was watching, qualified you for a platform where everyone will be watching. The silence wasn't God's absence, it was God's incubator. And now, beloved, as we stand on the threshold of the 29th of June, 2025, I need you to understand something that will change how you see every day you've lived. Your preparation phase is complete. But are you ready to discover what you've actually been prepared for? Listen to me carefully, chosen one. This is not another date on a dusty calendar gathering cobwebs in your kitchen. This is heaven's gold-inked page, written in divine script before the foundation of the world was laid. Something was written for this day before you took your first breath, before your parents even met, before your great-grandparents were born. God looked down the corridors of time and marked the 29th of June, 2025 with your name in letters of fire. You want to know why you've felt restless lately, why sleep hasn't come easy, why you've been waking up at 3 a.m. with your heart pounding not from fear but from anticipation. Your spirit has been receiving downloads from heaven. Your soul has been getting ready for what's about to break loose. But here's what's going to shock you. You're not the only one feeling this. Right now, across America, from the hills of Tennessee to the shores of California, God's chosen ones are stirring. Something is happening in the spiritual realm that's so massive, even the atmosphere is responding. The atmosphere will feel strange today. Your body might feel lighter when you walk. Your breathing might feel deeper. That's not age catching up with you, dear one. That's not your medication kicking in. That's alignment. That's your physical body syncing up with your spiritual assignment. Heaven has issued the command, it's time. You remember Daniel, don't you? Chapter 9, verse 21. While he was still praying, still wrestling with God about the timing, the angel Gabriel came to him in swift flight. Swift flight. Not slowly meandering, not taking his sweet time. Gabriel flew with urgency because there was an appointed time that could not be delayed. That same urgency is pulsing through the heavenly realm right now for you. But why the 29th of June? Why not yesterday? Why not next month? Because God's timing isn't about convenience, it's about completion. For 40 years, Moses led Israel through the wilderness. Not 39 years, not 41, exactly 40. For 3 days, Jonah was in the belly of the whale. Not 2 days, not 4, exactly 3. Your season of preparation is ending on the 29th of June because that's when your spiritual maturity intersects with heaven's perfect moment. Here's what most people don't understand about divine timing. It's not just about you being ready. It's about everything else being ready for you. The people you're meant to influence, the doors you're meant to walk through, the generational chains you're meant to break, the legacy you're meant to leave. Right now, as I'm speaking these words, spiritual forces are moving, angels are positioning themselves, your enemies are being confused, your haters are being silenced, your doubters are about to become your witnesses. You've been asking God, when will my season come? You've been crying out, how much longer must I wait? You've been whispering in the dark, did you forget about me? The answer is thundering from heaven. I never forgot you. I was preparing you. And now it's your time. But here's the part that's going to make your knees weak. This isn't just about your breakthrough. This is about you becoming someone else's breakthrough. You think you've been waiting all these years just to receive blessing. No, precious one, you've been trained to carry blessing. You've been shaped to distribute light. You've been refined to reflect glory. The 29th of June isn't just your release date, it's your commissioning ceremony. Every tear you've cried has been collected in heaven's bottles. Every prayer you've whispered has been recorded in heaven's books. Every act of faith when you couldn't see the way forward has been noted in heaven's chronicles. And now, all of that stored-up favor is about to be released, like a dam bursting. You feel that stirring in your spirit right now, don't you? That's not emotion, that's recognition. Your spirit knows what your mind is just beginning to grasp. But I need you to understand something that's going to separate you from everyone else who hears this message. This moment, this very second, is your test. Not tomorrow, not after you think about it, right now. If you feel the room around you shifting, if the air feels thicker, if something invisible but very real is moving in your space, pause. Say out loud, with your own voice, with conviction, "I receive my light." Then type it below in the comments. Don't just think it, don't just feel it, declare it. That act of obedience might be the exact movement heaven has been waiting for. Because here's what I know after 50 years of watching God move. He doesn't just want your agreement, He wants your participation. He doesn't just want your belief, He wants your boldness. The question isn't whether you're ready for the 29th of June. The question is whether the 29th of June is ready for what God is about to release through you. And trust me, chosen one, it's about to get very, very bright in your life. Listen carefully, chosen one. The world has sold you a counterfeit definition of shine. They told you it's about success, fame, money in the bank. They made you believe that shine comes from applause, from recognition, from finally getting your moment in the spotlight. They lied. This glow isn't about success, it's about survival. You want to know what real shine is? It's the light that refuses to die when everything around you is telling it to quit. It's the radiance that emerges not from comfort, but from the crushing weight of trials that should have destroyed you completely. Your shine doesn't come from graduation ceremonies or promotion letters. It doesn't flow from social media likes or standing ovations. This shine comes from every dark night you endured, not from applause, but from fire. Do you remember Job? The man who lost everything, his children, his wealth, his health, even his wife telling him to curse God and die. But what did Scripture say about his ending? The Lord blessed the latter part of Job's life more than the former part. Job 42:12. His greatest shine didn't come before the storm. It came after the furnace. You've been in that furnace, haven't you? The kind of heat that strips away everything fake, everything borrowed, everything that wasn't truly yours. And you thought it was punishment, but God was forging something in you that can't be created any other way. You've been forged like gold in a hidden furnace. Every betrayal was a degree of heat. Every closed door was pressure. Every lonely night was the hammer striking, shaping, refining. You didn't know it then, but heaven was watching. Not with pity, with purpose. Because here's what they don't tell you about gold. It's not beautiful when it comes out of the ground. It's mixed with dirt, rocks, impurities. It looks worthless. But when you put it through 1948 degrees Fahrenheit, when you subject it to temperatures that would melt copper, that would destroy silver, something miraculous happens. All the junk burns away. And what remains? Pure gold that reflects light like nothing else on earth. That's your story. Every degree of pain had a purpose. Every season of pressure was preparation. You didn't just survive your trials, you were refined by them. But here's where most people miss it. They think the goal is to get through the fire and never face heat again. They want their shine to buy them comfort, ease, recognition. But that's not why God gave you this radiance. Your shine is not decoration, it's divine weaponry. When Moses came down from Mount Sinai after meeting with God, his face was so radiant the Israelites couldn't look at him. Exodus 34:30 says they were afraid to come near him. That wasn't beauty, that was power. That wasn't charm, that was authority that had been earned in the presence of the Almighty. Your shine works the same way. It's not meant to make people comfortable, it's meant to make darkness uncomfortable. It's not designed to fit in with the crowd. It's designed to stand out so boldly that it forces people to make a choice: step toward the light or retreat deeper into shadows. This is why you felt so misunderstood. People sense something different about you, and it makes them nervous. They can't explain it, but they know you carry something they don't have. Some are drawn to it like moths to flame. Others are threatened by it and try to dim you down. But understand this: when you've been through what you've been through and you're still standing, still believing, still loving, that creates a frequency that can't be manufactured. It can't be faked. It can't be bought. Think about this. Why do you think the enemy worked so hard to break you? Why did he throw everything at you? Rejection, failure, loss, betrayal, sickness, poverty. Because he could see what was being built in you. He could see the weapon you were becoming. Your shine isn't just personal victory, it's prophetic declaration. Every time someone sees you thriving after what should have destroyed you, it preaches a sermon without words. It declares that God is still in the miracle business. It announces that hell's plans can be overturned. It proves that what the enemy meant for evil, God can turn for good. But here's the question that will determine everything. Are you ready to stop hiding your light? Are you ready to stop apologizing for the power that flows through you? Are you ready to quit dimming yourself down to make others comfortable with their own darkness? Because on the 29th of June, 2025, heaven is pulling the curtain back. The hiding season is over. The behind-the-scenes preparation is complete. Your shine isn't coming, it's already here, and it's time to let it do what it was designed to do. This isn't about ego, this is about assignment. Your light wasn't given to you for you. It was given to you through you. For the person who's about to give up, for the family member who's lost their way, for the stranger who needs to see that survival is possible, that comeback is real, that God still moves mountains. So tell me, chosen one, are you ready to stop hiding behind humility and start walking in holy boldness? Because your shine begins now, and the world is waiting to see what happens when refined gold finally decides to reflect the full glory of its creator. The question isn't whether you're ready to shine. The question is, are you ready to blind the darkness? You may not see it yet, but it's already begun. Right now, as you're listening to these words, something ancient and eternal is recalibrating in the unseen realm around you. Your guardian angels have received new assignments. The atmospheric pressure over your life has shifted. The spiritual climate that once felt like endless winter is giving way to an unprecedented spring. You didn't announce it, but heaven did. 3 weeks ago, maybe 4, you started feeling different. Not physically, spiritually. You began noticing things. The way certain people suddenly seemed smaller in your presence. How toxic conversations that used to drain you for hours now bounce off you like raindrops on glass. How your prayers, once desperate and pleading, now carry a quiet authority that surprises even you. That wasn't personal growth, beloved. That was divine recalibration. Here's what the enemy doesn't want you to understand. The shift always happens in the invisible realm first. Before Moses' staff became a serpent, before David's stone found Goliath's forehead, before Jesus walked on water, the victory was already declared in heaven's courts. The natural world simply caught up to what was already decided. You may not see it yet, but it's already begun. Your walk will change. Not because you're trying to walk differently, but because the weight of glory is settling on your shoulders. Remember how the Israelites could see Moses had been with God just by looking at his face? Exodus 34-29 says his face was radiant, though he didn't know it. That same radiance is forming around you right now. Others will notice before you do. Your voice will carry weight. Words you speak casually will land with prophetic precision in the hearts of listeners. Conversations you think are ordinary will become life-changing moments for people whose names you don't even know. Why? Because when heaven endorses your message, every syllable becomes loaded with destiny. Your silence will now speak. The rooms you enter will shift before you say a single word. Your presence alone will expose hidden things, comfort broken hearts, and ignite dormant dreams. This isn't about personality, this is about the anointing that breaks yokes. You didn't announce it, but heaven did. Here's where it gets shocking. You've been resisting this shift. Part of you is terrified of it, because deep down, you know that once this door fully opens, there's no going back to the comfortable smallness you've known. No more hiding in the back row, no more playing it safe, no more excuses about not being ready. But let me ask you something that might disturb your sleep tonight. What if your resistance to shine is actually rebellion against God's plan? What if your humility has become pride in disguise, the pride of staying small when He called you to be great? Isaiah 60:1 doesn't say, "Arise and shine when your light has come." It says, "Arise, shine, for your light has come." Present tense. Already accomplished. The light isn't coming, it's here. The question isn't whether you're ready. The question is whether you'll stop hiding from what's already yours. You may not see it yet, but it's already begun. People who haven't called you in months are about to reach out. Opportunities that seemed permanently closed are about to reopen with your name specifically mentioned. Resources you never asked for are about to flow into your hands. Why now? Because the invisible shift creates visible momentum. But here's the part that will challenge everything you think you know about timing. This shift didn't start because you finally got strong enough. It started because you finally got desperate enough. When you stopped trying to qualify for God's favor and started relying completely on His grace, that surrender triggered an avalanche of breakthrough that's been building for years. You didn't announce it, but heaven did. Think about Lazarus in the tomb. For 4 days, he was dead, silent, hidden from view. But on day 4, Jesus spoke one word, "Come forth," and death had to release what belonged to life. John 11:43. Right now, in the invisible realm, Jesus is speaking over every dead area of your life. Your finances that flatlined, your relationships that went cold, your dreams that got buried, your hope that died. Come forth. And just like Lazarus, you're about to emerge not just alive, but powerfully alive. Not just restored, but radically transformed. Because when God resurrects something, He doesn't just bring it back, He brings it back better. Your walk will change. Your voice will carry weight. Your silence will now speak. Here's what's happening in the invisible realm right now. Generational curses are snapping. Spiritual roadblocks are crumbling. Divine connections that have been delayed are suddenly accelerating toward you. The favor that your bloodline has never seen is about to make its debut through your life. But you have to receive it. You have to stop fighting the shift and start flowing with it. You have to stop asking, "Am I worthy?" and start declaring, "I am chosen." You may not see it yet, but it's already begun. The invisible shift doesn't wait for your permission. It doesn't need your understanding, but it does require your cooperation. It needs you to stop shrinking back when the light gets brighter. It needs you to stop apologizing for the favor on your life. It needs you to walk into rooms like you belong there because you do. Whisper this with me. I receive the invisible shift. Say it again. I receive the invisible shift. One more time. With everything in you, I receive the invisible shift. Now, share this video with someone else who has been hidden for too long. Because the shift isn't just about Utes, it's about everyone heaven is calling out of the shadows. The invisible is about to become undeniable. Listen to me carefully, chosen one. What I'm about to tell you will shake you to your core, but you need to hear this truth. This isn't just another open door, it's the last one of its kind. I know that sounds dramatic. I know your logical mind wants to resist that statement, but deep in your spirit, you already know I'm telling you the truth. You can feel it, can't you? That trembling in your soul that says this moment is different. This isn't like the other times when you felt hope rising, only to watch it fade again. This is final. This is it. The 29th of June, 2025, isn't just another date circled on heaven's calendar. It's the expiration date on excuses, the deadline on delay, the final call before the train leaves the station forever. You see, beloved, God operates in seasons, and some seasons only come once in a lifetime. Some doors only open once, and when they close, they don't crack open again for decades. Think about Lot's wife for a moment. One look back, one moment of hesitation, one split second of choosing yesterday over tomorrow, and she became a pillar of salt, frozen forever in the place of her indecision. She had one chance to walk into her future, and she missed it by looking back at what was already burning. Are you going to be Lot's wife? Are you going to let this moment pass while you're still staring at what God has already marked for destruction in your life? Because here's what nobody wants to tell you. Miss this, and you'll feel it for the next 10 years. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to save you from a decade of regret. From lying awake at night wondering, what if? From watching others walk through doors that could have been yours. From explaining to your children why grandma or grandpa never stepped into their calling. Remember the two thieves on the cross? Same moment, same opportunity, same Jesus hanging right there between them. One chose belief, one chose bitterness, one stepped through the door to paradise. The other stayed locked in his own prison of pride. Which thief are you going to be today? Jesus himself wept over Jerusalem because they missed their moment. He cried real tears and said, "You did not know the time of your visitation." Can you imagine the heartbreak in heaven when God's chosen ones miss their appointed hour because they were too afraid, too proud, or too comfortable in their familiar pain? Don't let Jesus weep over you, because here's the raw truth that's going to hit you like a lightning bolt. You've been preparing for this moment your entire life. Every heartbreak trained your heart to handle victory. Every closed door strengthened your faith muscle for this opening. Every dark night refined your spirit for this dawn. But preparation without activation is just expensive education. You can know every scripture. You can attend every service. You can pray every prayer. But if you don't step through when God opens the door, all that preparation becomes nothing but spiritual theory. And I need you to understand something that's going to shake you. This door isn't opening because you finally got good enough. It's opening because time ran out on your season of preparation. Heaven looked at the calendar and said, "Ready or not, it's time." That uncomfortable feeling in your chest right now, that's your spirit recognizing the weight of this moment. That's your soul understanding that everything changes based on what you decide in the next few minutes. You see, most people think they have tomorrow. They think they have next year. They think they have time to get ready for their breakthrough. But what if tomorrow never comes? What if next year God moves on to someone else who was willing to step through today? The Bible says, "Today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts." Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready, not when your circumstances look perfect. Today, right now, as you're hearing these words, heaven is holding its breath. Angels are leaning forward. Your ancestors who prayed for this moment are watching, and the enemy is hoping you'll choose fear over faith one more time. But you won't, because something deeper than logic is rising in your spirit. Something ancient and eternal is awakening in your bones. You feel it, don't you? That holy trembling that says, "This is real, this is now, this is yours." This is your Esther moment. This is your "for such a time as this," appointment with destiny. And just like Esther, if you don't step up, someone else will. But the question that will haunt you forever is, what would have happened if I had been brave enough to say yes? Don't let that question destroy the next decade of your life. Comment right now, I step through. This is more than engagement, precious one. This is spiritual documentation. Let heaven and hell record your decision. Let the realm of the impossible know that you choose faith over fear. And here's something that's going to challenge your heart. Send this message to one person you love. Their breakthrough might be tied to your courage. Their door might only open because you were brave enough to share yours. Because this last door, it's not just about you. It's about everyone connected to your destiny. It's about the generations that will rise because you chose to shine. It's about the miracles that will flow because you stopped playing small. The 29th of June is here, chosen one. The door is open. Heaven is waiting. What's your choice going to be? You crossed the threshold. But what if I told you? The real journey just began. Take a breath, chosen one. Feel the air in your lungs. It's different now, isn't it? Thinner, charged, like breathing lightning instead of oxygen. You're not in the same world anymore. You're not operating from the same frequency anymore. You're not bound by the same limitations anymore. Something has shifted, something irreversible. You prayed that prayer, you declared that declaration, and heaven responded with a cosmic yes that's still echoing through dimensions you can't see. But here's what they don't tell you about crossing over into your destiny. The moment you step into divine alignment, everything that was comfortable becomes uncomfortable. Everything that was familiar becomes foreign. You're not in Kansas anymore, Dorothy. You're in the Promised Land, and the Promised Land has different rules. Listen to me carefully. The person who started watching this video, they're gone. That version of you who was waiting, wondering, hoping maybe someday God would remember your name. That person died the moment you typed 777. That person was buried the moment you chose to believe again. You're not the same person anymore. And if you think that sounds dramatic, good. Because what happened to you was dramatic. Moses didn't casually stroll through the Red Sea. The Israelites didn't leisurely wander into the Promised Land. When God moves, when destinies shift, when heaven intervenes, it's never subtle. But here's where it gets real, beloved. Here's where the rubber meets the road. This isn't a finish line. It's a fiery beginning. You see, everyone thinks breakthrough is about arrival, but breakthrough is about departure. You're not just receiving something new, you're leaving something old. And that old life, it's going to fight for you to come back. Those old patterns, those old fears, those old voices that told you to play small and stay safe, they're going to get louder before they get quieter. Because you've entered the arena now. And in the arena, everything is tested. David didn't just receive a crown. He had to face Goliath first. Esther didn't just become queen. She had to risk her life to save her people. Jesus didn't just rise from the dead. He had to die first. And you've just signed up for the fight of your life. Not against flesh and blood, as Paul reminds us in Ephesians 6:12, but against spiritual forces that absolutely do not want you walking in this level of authority. They've watched you struggle in the shadows for years. They've kept you quiet, kept you small, kept you believing that your time would never come. And now you're glowing, now you're activated, now you're operating from a place they can't touch. And they are terrified. So, let me prepare you for what's coming. In the next 48 hours, you're going to be tested. Old situations are going to resurface. Old people are going to call. Old temptations are going to knock on your door, dressed up like opportunities. Why? Because the enemy knows something you're still figuring out. You're dangerous now. The version of you that just got activated, That version threatens every lie hell ever told about your future. That version exposes every delay as divine preparation. That version proves that God keeps his promises, even when they take decades to manifest. But here's the beautiful truth that will carry you through every test. You're not walking this path alone anymore. Isaiah 43:2 says, "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. The flames will not set you ablaze." Notice it doesn't say if you pass through waters. It says when. Because challenge isn't a sign you're off track. Challenge is proof you're exactly where you need to be. You're not in the same world anymore. You're in a world where doors open before you knock. You're in a world where opportunities chase you down. You're in a world where your voice carries weight, where your presence shifts atmospheres, where your prayers hit heaven like heat-seeking missiles. You're not in the same world anymore. You're in a world where delay has expired, where maybe someday has become right now, where the dreams you buried are clawing their way back to the surface demanding to be lived. You're not in the same world anymore. You're in a world where you don't beg for what's yours. You don't apologize for taking up space. You don't dim your light to make others comfortable. Because here's what the 29th of June really activated: your divine intolerance for anything less than what God promised. You can't go backward now, even if you wanted to. The bridge has been burned, the old you has been buried, and the new you is just getting started. Welcome to the other side, chosen one. Welcome to your new normal. Welcome to a world where miracles aren't surprises. They're daily bread. But this is just the beginning. Because what you've activated in the spirit realm is about to manifest in the physical realm. And when it does, you're going to understand why the wait was so long. Because what's coming is worth every tear you cried getting here. Here's what nobody warned you about when you finally said yes to your calling. The moment your light began to shine really shin-headed, you noticed something else start happening. Did the attacks intensify? Did people who used to ignore you suddenly have opinions about your life? Did spiritual warfare escalate in ways that made you question if you'd made a mistake? Let me tell you something that might shock you. That resistance isn't evidence you're failing. It's confirmation you're glowing. You see, demons don't attack the forgotten. Hell doesn't waste ammunition on people who pose no threat to the kingdom of darkness. But you've crossed a line. You've stepped into a frequency that makes the enemy nervous. And now you're discovering what every chosen one learns the hard way. Your shine comes with a target on your back. Think about it. When Jesus began his ministry, what happened? Matthew 4 tells us the devil himself showed up for a personal visit. Not after Jesus failed. Not when he was weak. Right after heaven declared, "This is my beloved Son." The moment divine favor was announced, spiritual opposition mobilized, and you thought your journey would be different. Here's the brutal truth. Light always attracts insects. And the brighter you glow, the more determined they become to extinguish you. That promotion at work suddenly comes with office politics you never experienced before. That new level of spiritual authority brings family members questioning your sanity. That breakthrough in your calling attracts critics who didn't even know your name 6 months ago. Are you feeling it right now? That strange resistance that seems to come from everywhere at once. That inexplicable heaviness that settles on you just when things should feel light. That's not coincidence. That's confirmation. You're glowing, and hell noticed. But here's where most people make the fatal mistake. They think the attack means they're doing something wrong. They interpret warfare as rejection from God instead of recognition by the enemy. They dim their light to stop the heat instead of understanding that the heat means their fire is real. Listen to me carefully. The resistance you're feeling isn't God's disapproval, it's hell's panic. When Daniel prayed, what happened? Daniel 10 reveals that his answer was delayed for 21 days because of spiritual warfare. Not because God didn't hear him, not because he wasn't worthy, but because his prayer was so powerful, it required angelic intervention to break through enemy lines. Your delay isn't denial. Your warfare isn't rejection. Your resistance is proof that what you're carrying is so threatening to darkness that every demonic force in your vicinity has been called to active duty. Think about Moses. The moment he accepted his calling to deliver Israel, what increased? The oppression. Pharaoh made the Israelites work harder, demanded more bricks with less straw. But that wasn't God abandoning his plan. That was hell's desperate attempt to stop what heaven had already decreed. And you wonder why your life got harder after you said yes to God. Here's what your enemy knows that you're just discovering. You're not just chosen for blessing, you're chosen for battle. You're not just called to receive, you're called to rescue. And rescue missions always involve conflict. But understand this and let this penetrate every fiber of your being. You were never sent into battle unarmed. You think God would activate your light without equipping you for the darkness that would challenge it. 2 Corinthians 10:4 declares, "The weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds." You don't fight this battle with human strength. You don't defend your glow with earthly armor. You've been equipped with weapons hell has no defense against. Your worship in the storm breaks chains. Your praise in the pressure opens prison doors. Your faith in the fire shuts the mouths of lions. This isn't religious theory, this is spiritual reality. But here's where it gets dangerous in the best possible way. The enemy's attacks on your light actually increase its wattage. Every lie he tells about you gets exposed by your truth. Every weapon he forms against you proves ineffective and strengthens your testimony. Every door he tries to close only redirects you to the one God has already opened. You know why Job's story ended with double restoration? Because hell's attack on his light only proved that nothing could extinguish what God had ignited. The enemy thought he was destroying Job's witness. Instead, he was amplifying it for generations to read. Your attack isn't your obituary. It's your biography being written in real time. And here's the part that should terrify the enemy and embolden you. You're just getting started. If your small light attracts this much opposition, imagine what hell will do when you step into the fullness of your calling. If your whisper of faith causes this much disruption, what happens when you find your roar? The resistance you're feeling right now, it's not the peak of warfare, it's the preview. Because the 29th of June isn't just about your shine beginning, it's about your fire reaching temperatures hell has never seen from you before. So when the attacks intensify in the days ahead, when the opposition feels overwhelming, when well-meaning people tell you to tone it down or be more careful, remember this moment. Remember that your enemy's panic is your proof. You're not too much. You're exactly enough to terrify the forces that have kept others in darkness. And that glow they're trying so desperately to dim, it's about to become a blaze they'll never recover from. But first, you need to understand something crucial about the specific kind of attack that targets those who carry your level of light. Look at me, chosen one. Really look at me through this screen. Why did it hurt so much? Why did the very people who should have protected you become the ones who wounded you deepest? Why did your prayers seem to bounce off heaven's ceiling while others got instant answers? Here's the truth they don't teach in Sunday school. God didn't send you suffering to punish you. He allowed it to prepare you. You see, there are two types of people in this world. Those who break under pressure and those who become diamonds. You didn't just survive your fire, you were forged by it. Every tear you cried in secret wasn't wasted water. It was holy oil, anointing you for something the comfortable could never carry. Think about Moses. 40 years in Pharaoh's palace, 40 years in the wilderness, 80 years of preparation for 10 plagues and 1 exodus. The Israelites didn't need a comfortable leader. They needed someone who knew both luxury and loss, power and poverty. They needed someone marked by suffering. That's you. That's why your pain was so specific, so targeted, so relentless. God didn't allow the fire to burn you. He allowed it to mark you. Joseph understood this, betrayed by his brothers, falsely accused by Potiphar's wife, forgotten in prison for years. But listen, when famine hit Egypt, Pharaoh didn't call for the comfortable. He called for the one who knew both pit and palace, the one whose suffering had become his strength. Your scars aren't shame, beloved. They are strategy. Every betrayal taught you discernment. Every loss taught you what truly matters. Every closed door taught you to trust God's timing over your own understanding. You didn't get an easy life because you weren't called to an easy assignment. The woman at the well had 5 husbands before she met Jesus. The man born blind stayed that way for 30 years before his healing became a testimony. Paul was struck down on the Damascus road because comfortable Saul could never plant churches or write half the New Testament. Your suffering wasn't your setback, it was your setup. But here's what breaks my heart, though many of you have apologized for your pain. How many of you have felt ashamed of your story? Stop that. Right now, your wounds are not your weakness. They are your credentials. You think Jesus called comfortable fishermen? Peter denied him 3 times. Thomas doubted. Matthew was a tax collector, literally hated by his own people. God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. And the qualification process? It often looks like suffering. Chosen one, if you've stayed with me through this entire message, that itself is proof that heaven has marked this moment for you. Your spirit recognized the call before your mind could process it. Let me remind you of what matters most. The 29th of June, 2025, isn't just a date, it's your divine appointment. Your suffering wasn't your sentence, it was your seminary. Your scars aren't your shame, they're your credentials. And your shine, it's not coming, it's here. But listen to me carefully. You are not walking this path alone. Right now, as you hear these words, God is orchestrating details you cannot see. He's aligning people you haven't met, opening doors you didn't know existed, and preparing blessings you stopped believing were possible. The same God who never forgot Joseph in the prison, who remembered Hannah in her barrenness, who saw David in the shepherd's field, that same God sees you, knows your name, and is moving on your behalf even now. And you have a family here. Look at these comments, thousands of hearts beating with the same hope, carrying the same calling, walking the same difficult but divine path. You belong to a community that understands your language of faith, your seasons of silence, your moments of breakthrough. We are here. We are praying. We are believing with you. So let me ask you this. What if everything you've endured, every tear you've cried, every prayer you've whispered in the dark, what if it was all leading to this moment? What if your shine beginning now isn't just about you, but about everyone who will be touched by your light? Now, let us pray together. If you're able, place your hand on your heart. Feel it beating. That's the rhythm of purpose. That's the sound of destiny calling your name. Heavenly Father, right now, I speak over every precious soul hearing these words. Lord, you see the one who's been waiting decades for their breakthrough. You know the one who's questioned if they missed their moment. You feel the heartbeat of the one who's almost given up. I pray for supernatural strength to flood their spirit right now. Where there has been weariness, release fresh energy. Where there has been doubt, pour in unshakable faith. Where there has been silence, let them hear your voice clearly. Father, open doors that no man can shut. Remove obstacles that have stood too long. Accelerate the timing of their blessing. Let their enemies become their footstools. Let their pain become their platform. Let their test become their testimony. Surround them with divine connections. Send the right people at the right time. Provide for every need before they even ask. Heal what's been broken. Restore what's been stolen. Multiply what seemed lost. And Lord, as their shine begins, let them never forget where their light comes from. Keep them humble in their rising. Keep them grateful in their gaining. Let their success be a magnet for the broken, a beacon for the lost, a bridge for the hurting. We thank you that the 29th of June marks not just their breakthrough, but their becoming. In Jesus' powerful name, amen. If this prayer stirred something in your spirit, type Amen in the comments. But don't stop there. Tell us how God is moving in your life. Share your breakthrough story. Ask for prayer if you need it. This community is real, and your testimony could be the very word someone else needs to hold on. And please, share this message. There's someone in your circle who needs to know their shine is beginning too. Someone who's forgotten they're chosen. Someone who's lost hope that God still has a plan. Be the hand that reaches back to pull them up. Thank you for spending this sacred time with us. Thank you for believing when it was hard to believe. Thank you for staying when it would have been easier to leave. If this message has touched your heart, subscribe to this channel not just for more content, but to stay connected to a community that will remind you who you are when the world tries to make you forget. Your shine begins now, beloved, and we'll be here cheering you on every step of the way. God bless you. Go in peace. Walk in power. Shine without apology. Your moment is here.